Сега продължаваме с икономистът Pierre Garello от Франция, университета Марсилия, Екс-Прованс 3. Там той води курсове по макроекономика, политическа икономия, история на икономическата мисъл, право икономика, теория на решението на индустриалната организация. Действително един ерудит в сферата на икономиката. Ще говорим за Франция, за изборите в Франция. Господин Гарело го хващаме в Рабат, Мароко. Разговор ще потече на английски, затова поздравявам сега господин Гарело. Мистер Гарело, hello, thank you for joining.
Hello, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. How would you describe the actual situation of the French right given the result of the recent primary in France?
Well, I think it's what happened recently, which was a surprise for many, is rather good news. I'm rather optimistic. I think the candidate that finally went out of the primaries has, in my opinion, all the necessary capacities to implement in France the policy that is urgently needed to get the country out of a recession. And on top of that, I think that from a political point of view, is rather a very wise person. So, it was not what we were expecting, but I think it's, finally the outcome is rather good, in my opinion, again.
But what does the vote for Francois Fillon reveal for the distribution of power and the general attitude among Frenchmen before the presidential elections?
Well, I think we should keep in mind first that those were the primary of the right, okay? So they were basically competing to try to get the vote on the right, even though maybe a few persons, it was an open primary, so people from the center and the left could, cast a vote as well. But so they were, especially on social issues, they were addressing mainly the people from the right. Now, what it means is that first people, rejected Sarkozy, so that was one of the things. We thought that maybe because he was the leader of the party, he still had, a lot of support. It turns out that, just people want to try something else. So this is why Sarkozy is out. Somehow he got his chance already when he was a president. It shows also that, Juppé, which was the other contender, maybe is too much turned toward the past. He's a little bit older. He's softer, and I think Juppé made probably the mistake of trying to open on the center and the left, which I think was a mistake because this was the primary of the right. So most of the people who had to vote, they recognize themselves more in Fillon than in Juppé. Fillon kept a rather coherent position, definitely on the right, and that I think explains his success. Maybe to answer differently your question, it means that people want a policy of the right. They want. There seems to be a consensus for decreasing, the realm of the state. As you know, Fillon wants to cut the number of civil servants by 500,000. Juppé wanted also to cut it by like 300,000 or something of that sort. They both want to reduce tax as soon as possible, get rid of the wealth tax and things of that sort. So people, they really want a policy, economic policy, more pro-markets than what we had in the past. They want a lighter state, and that's what come out of the poll, I think.
You mentioned it already, but let's try to tackle the economic side of the issue. What does Fillon program look like in economic perspective? What are his main messages, so to speak?
Well, people in France call him an ultra-libertarian. He definitely wants to reduce the size of the state. which is huge in France. You know, I mean, remember our public expenditure to GDP is 57.5%, something like that. I think we are second in the world. We have 5.6 million civil servants, which is about 20% of the working population. So the state is huge and is inefficient because we still have 10% at least unemployment. You know, public debt is reaching 100% of GDP. Deficit has been there forever. I think the last time we had no deficit was in the 70s. So he really wants to reduce the size of the state. He wants to reduce taxation as soon as possible. As I said, he wants to get rid of the wealth tax. So it's a typical pro-market policy. He also mentioned changing the social security system. He was not very precise on exactly what he wants to do, but he will probably not do much in terms of pension fund. So I don't think he will risk a privatization in that direction.
Mr. Garello,
but it was the most pro-market. I mean, but on those issues, Juppé was almost like him. I mean.
But where will France be heading if Fillon is elected, and what are the alternatives? With few words, because we are run of time, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I'm really of the opinion that we need to follow something a little bit like what Fillon is offering. France has almost no growth. We cannot get rid of unemployment, and he wants to change labor law. He wants to make it much easier to lay off and to hire. And so I think France will be heading in the good direction if ever he was to be elected as a president.
Is this comparison between him and Trump relevant in your mind?
No. I mean, honestly not. I mean, Fillon has been prime minister already for 5 years. He was very popular as a prime minister. He's a very experienced person. He was prime minister of Sarkozy. Is a very quiet person. I think the comparison is honestly totally misplaced. He doesn't want to come back. I mean, he has been asked on many topics such as abortion, and he says, even though I'm not personally in favor of it, there is no way I want to change the law, so abortion will still be going on, and will still be financed as it is today. I mean, he's on immigration, he doesn't have any extreme position. No, honestly, I think this was partly exaggerated by the media. I mean, I'm not too much surprised, actually. I don't know, there must be some target maybe in some people to make him look like Trump, but I don't see any resemblance with Donald Trump, and he's really a conservative from the right, and very pro-market in terms of economics. That's what he is. I mean, in France they describe him as a little bit like a countryside bourgeois. A bourgeois so that's what he is. I mean, he's a quiet person. I mean, we might have surprised. I mean, I don't know him personally, but at least what I get from listening to him is by far the most, the guy will look wiser. I mean, Sarkozy compared to him look like Sarkozy will look like Trump. I mean,
Merci.
If I might, make some comparison. Okay.
Merci, professeur Garello.
Voilà.